Hello, this video is for IXL Activity A1.E.1. It is titled Convert Rates and Measurements, and we're dealing with customary units. The 3-character code for this activity is Tango X-Ray Charlie. So customary units, exactly what do we mean by customary units? Well, by customary units, we're talking about units that are typically that you find like in the United States that are not elsewhere. That is to say, units that are not metric units. So we're talking about things like inches instead of meters and feet instead of meters, or things like if we're dealing with volume instead of liters, we're talking about pints and quarts and gallons, etc., and ounces. And so we lead to weight instead of grams, we're talking about pounds, okay? And customary units, pretty much, you kind of think of them as not the metric system. And whenever you start dealing with customary units, all of a sudden you kind of realize why a lot of people might like the metric system. It's a base 10 system, makes conversions pretty easy. But we do still have the customary units, and they'll probably be around for a while, so it's probably a good idea to learn how to make those conversions. And that's exactly what we're doing, is we're going to convert rates and measurements. One thing we need to talk about first is those conversions. You can find, because you need to know these things in order to do the conversions, right? You need to know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Well, I think a lot of us know that. But how many of us know that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet? Or that, I think with time, I think most of us are good with that. 1 year, 365 days, 1 hour, 60 minutes, 1 minute is 60 seconds. I think many of us are good with that. Another one that's probably not so popular is that 1 pound or 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds, or that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. I happen to know these two. I used to be a truck driver, so I would know that 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. And I've walked to the grocery store enough to realize that 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. I see that whenever I look at a package of lunch meat. It says 16 ounces, and in parentheses it'll say 1 pound. So I know that 16 ounces is 1 pound. I kind of picked that up from walking around the grocery store. The capacity for liquids, those are pretty tricky. A lot of people dealing with pints and cups. That's not very popular to many people. So I've got this graphic here in the middle. I kind of like this one. The big green G is for gallon. The Q is for quarts, so there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Inside of each quart, there are 2, and the P is for pints, so there's 2 pints. Inside of every pint, there are 2 cups, and each cup, here we see, has 8 fluid ounces. Now, you could find these graphic organizers online. I just typed in customary unit conversions, or maybe gallons to pints or something like that. And if you do an image search on it, you'll find a lot of these. This one over here, US customary units. The one here in the middle with the big G and the quarts and the pints and the cups. And then this one over here. These are all 3 separate images that I have found online to help demonstrate this concept here. And you too could always just go online, do a search, type in customary unit conversions, and then click on images, and you can pull up many of these graphic images that'll help you with this. We're also going to talk about conversion factors. Conversion factors help us convert from one measurement to another. Now the thing about conversion factors are we always represent them as a fraction, or as a proportion, right? The proportion is represented as a fraction. They both have different measurements in the numerator and the denominator, but yet they are equal to one another. So they have a value of 1, because any number over itself is equal to 1. So every conversion factor is a fraction that has separate measurements in the numerator and the denominator, and their overall value is 1, because the value in the numerator is equal to the value in the denominator. For instance, 7 days is the same as 1 week. 60 seconds is the same as 1 minute. 12 inches is the same as 1 foot. And we're going to use those conversion factors in something like what we see down here, where I have this highlighted, to where we're going to have 2 gallons times, and the conversion factor, like here we have 4 quarts over 1 gallon. This is a conversion factor. Numerator and denominator are in different measurements, but yet they are equal to one another. 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. And then we're going to have unit cancellation. We'll talk about how to do unit cancellation, where we cancel out the gallons because we want to get rid of gallons and we want to get to quarts. And then we would multiply the numerator, and it simplifies down into 8 quarts. So that's pretty much what we're going to do there. So if you have difficulty with these conversions and creating your conversion factors, go find some of these graphic organizers that will go ahead and give you the numbers that you're going to need for those. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and start on some of these. 48 pints to X number of gallons. So I'm going to start with 48 pints. And I guess I'll use PT for pints. I'm going to put that over 1. I kind of like mine as a fraction here. On the previous one, they just kind of put it here off to the side. But anything over 1 is equal to itself. So I kind of like to keep it as a fraction. And now I'm wanting to go ahead, and I need pints in the denominator because up here it's in the numerator, and those bad boys are going to cancel. Now, I need to get to gallons. Well, I know pints. Let's go pints to quarts. And then let's use another conversion factor. I want quarts in the denominator because up here it's in the numerator, so that those will cancel. And I want to go from quarts to gallons, right? And which is good because I want to get to gallons. Now I need to fill in my numbers here. In every 1 quart, there are 2 pints. Remember that image that we had on the first slide? Inside of the Q, there's 2 P's, so in every quart, there's 2 pints. And in every 1 gallon, there are 4 quarts. There are 4 Q's inside of the big G. Now we're going to do some cancellation. I'm going to go ahead and change the color here so you kind of see them canceling. Pints will cancel pints. Quarts will cancel quarts. And one has to be in the numerator and the other one the denominator to cancel those out. And then look what happens here. Look what happens here. I end up with all I have left is gallons left over, right? Now I can do 48 times 1 is 48. And 2 times 4 is 8. Now I have 48 over 8. I need to simplify this. I need to divide the 8 into 48. And what is that, 6, right? 48 divided by 8 is 6. So that would simplify to 6 over 1, or 6 gallons, right? And any number over 1 is equal to itself. So let me get rid of that G there. So we have 6 gallons. So we have 6 gallons is the answer. On the next one, we need to go pounds to ounces. So I've got 60 pounds. LBS is pounds. And I'll put that over 1. Now I need to go to ounces. So I have pounds is in the numerator, so now I want it in the denominator. And now ounces up here. In 1 pound, there are 16 ounces. So now I'm going to have 60 times 16 over 1 times 1. Pounds will cancel pounds, leave me just ounces. So I end up with ounces in my numerator. And I need to do 60 times 16. Can I mental math that? Yeah, I think I can. 60 plus 36 is 96. Throw a 0, 960. Let's see, 60 times 16. Yep, 960. There we go. 960. 1 times 1 is 1. Any number over 1 is equal to itself. So I end up with 960 ounces. 960. On the next one, 96 quarts to fluid ounces. So let's start 96 quarts over 1. And I want to go to ounces. Let me see. Quarts down here because it's up there. I want those to cancel. Let's go from quarts to pints, right? And then I'm going to go from pints to cups. And then I'm going to go from cups to ounces. So now fill in all my numbers. And notice how quarts is up here. So I'll put it down here. Automatically pints is going to have to go up in the numerator. On the next time I put pints in the denominator because I want those to cancel. I'm going to match that up with the cups. Now cups is in the numerator, so I want it in the denominator so that those will cancel, leave me with ounces. So see how I'm setting this up? I set up my conversion factors based upon what I want to cancel. Let me go ahead and put my numbers in. In 1 quart, there are 2 pints. In 1 pint, there are 2 cups. In 1 cup, there are 8 ounces. So now, quarts cancels quarts, pints cancels pints, cups cancels cups, and notice all I'm left with is ounces. So I'm going to have 96 times 2 times 2 times 8. I'm getting my numbers from here. 96, 2, 2, and 8. And then 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. These are all just 1, so that's going to equal 1. So now 96 times 2 times 2 times 8 is going to give me a product of 3,072 over 1. 3,072 what? Well, I still have ounces there, which is good because I'm trying to find ounces, correct? And then any number over 1 is equal to itself, so 3270. Or that's not right. 3,072 ounces. 3072. Cups to pints. So let's start 98 cups. Put that over 1. I want cups here, so those will cancel. Inside cups to pints. Inside of 1 pint, there are 2 cups, right? So cups will cancel cups. I can stop at pints because that's what I want. So I end up with 98 times 1 is 98. 1 times 2 is 2. My measurement that I have left is still pints. And 98 divided by 2 should be what, 49? 49 pints. Feet to inches. So I need 73 feet over 1. I want feet in the bottom, or the denominator, since it's up here in the numerator. And to inches, in 1 foot there are 12 inches. Feet will cancel feet. 73 times 12 is 876. 876 what? Well, we still have inches left over. 1 times 1 is 1. Any number over itself is equal to, or any number over 1 is equal to itself. 876 inches. So our answer is 876. Here we want to convert 991 yards. And we want to convert it to inches. Well, let's go yards to feet. I want to put this at the bottom so it'll cancel, right? And now I want to go feet. And again, I'm putting it at the bottom so those will cancel, feet to inches. So let's plug in our numbers. So 1 yard is 3 feet. And 1 foot is 12 inches. Yards will cancel yards. Feet will cancel feet. So all we're left with is inches left, correct? 991 times 3 times 12. 991 times 3 times 12. It's going to give me a product of, holy cow, 35676. 676. 35,676. 1 times 1 times 1. It's all 1, so any number over 1 is equal to itself. So 35,676 is the final answer. All right, now we're getting a little tricky here. Now we're talking about rates, okay? Before it was just, here we're just converting the measurements here. But this is converting measurements and rates. So now we're going to be dealing with rates. So a rate is separated. A rate is a fraction in which we have different measurements in the numerator and the denominator. But unlike conversion factors, they are not equal to 1. So they're a little different. So we'll look at how that works. So let's go ahead and do 57 pounds, LBS, in 1 minute. And I guess do MIN. And I will need to multiply this. I'm trying to get to pounds per hour. So notice that this and this, the measurement that's changing is the time, right? So we need to deal with changing the measurement of time. The pounds are staying the same. So we need a conversion factor that changes minutes to hours. And well, in 1 minute, or 1 hour, there's 60 minutes, right? Now check this out. Minutes cancels minutes. So what do we have left? We have pounds in the numerator. Pounds, LBS. In the denominator, we still have hours. And this is going to give us exactly what we see right here, pounds per hour. So now we just do 57 times 60. So 57 times 60 is going to give me 3,420. 1 times 1 is 1. So that is per 1 hour. Now, if we ended up with something, if we ended up like 3420 over 2, then we would have to divide the numerator by the denominator in order to get to a unit rate. Okay, so and we had lesson on unit rates before. So we want to get to just think of it this way. There's a 1 in front of that, so we need this to be a 1. So 3420 is the answer. 3,420 pounds in 1 hour is equal to 57 pounds in a minute. All right, 504 pounds lbs and 1 week. Now pounds to pounds, so we're just trying to get to days, right? So we want to get rid of weeks, so it's in the denominator, so let's put it in the numerator. Weeks to days. Now in 1 week there are 7 days. Yeah, this will work out well because weeks will cancel weeks. End up with 504 over 7. What's the measurements I have left? 504 pounds. Measurement here is days. All right, now we're at 504 pounds over 7 days, but they just want for 1 day. So let's go ahead and divide both the numerator and the denominator by 7. So I already have 504 in here. No, actually I don't. 504 divided by 7 is going to give me 72. So just like whenever we did unit rates, I divide both the numerator and the denominator by 7. LBS in 1 day. So we see that 504 pounds per week is equal to 72 pounds per day. Okay, let's look at the next problem. Hopefully I'm not going through these too fast. I'm just hoping that through repetition and several examples that we'll be good to go on this. 22 pounds LBS, and you're probably going to have to get a little handy with the conversion factors as well, but be sure to use those graphics that I shared at the beginning to set those up. So now I'm going from pounds to ounces. Oh, and I'm also going days to weeks. So let's use a conversion factor first to get from pounds to ounces. So pounds is in the numerator. I want it in the denominator. LBS, and I want to get to ounces. In 1 pound, there are 16 ounces. Now let's deal with the conversion of converting from days to weeks. So day is in the denominator, so I want it in the numerator, day, and we're going to go to weeks. In 1 week, there are 7 days. Now let's do our cancellations, right? Day cancels day, pounds cancels pounds. What are we left with? Ounces up top and weeks at the bottom. And notice that's exactly what our answer is asking for. So now 22 times 16 times 7, I am not going to mental math that. 22 times 16 times 7 gives me a product of 2,464. And 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, so that is our final answer, 2464. Next question, we have 16 fluid ounces, so 16 ounces. And fluid ounces makes a difference, right? 16 ounces in 1 hour. And we're going ounces to cups, hours to day. So I need conversion factors for both the fluid and also for time. So let's do the fluid first. Ounces, and I need to get to cups. And I know that in 1 cup there are 8 ounces. So that takes care of that. Now I need to convert hours to days. Hours is in the denominator, so I want it in the numerator. And hours to in a day. I think we're okay there. Day. And 1 day there are 24 hours, right? So now hours cancels hours. Ounces cancels ounces. What do I have left for the answer? In the top I have cups, which is what I want. And in the denominator I have days, which is what the answer is asking for. So now 16 times 1 times 24. So 16 by 24 is going to give me 384. 384. And 1 times 8 times 1 is going to be 8. Now I need to divide both of these by 8 to get a unit rate. So 384 divided by 8 is going to be 48. This will be a 1. We have cups here, days here, so 48 cups per 1 day, 48. Here we have 48 cups in a year, 48 cups in 1 year. We're going from cups to quarts and years to months. So let's deal with the cups to quarts first. Remember, so they'll cancel. I'm going to go cups to pints. And then I'm going to go pints to quarts. And I can stop there because I need to get the quarts. And it is in 1 pint, there are 2 cups. In 1 quart, there are 2 pints. Now I need to deal with the time, right? So years to months. Years in the denominator, so I want it in the numerator. Months. In 1 year, there are 12 months. So let's cancel out the stuff that cancels. Years cancels years. Pints cancels pints. Cups cancels cups. What are we left with? For the numerator, quarts. For the denominator, months, which is exactly what my answer wants. So I'm good to go there. 48 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 48. And 1 times 2 times 2 times 12. 2 times 2 is 4 times 12 is 48, correct? Make sure I got all that correct. 48, all once, yep. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. Indeed, divide them both by 48. I would get 1 over 1. 1 what? 1 quart every month. So the answer is indeed just 1. 1 quart per month. Next we have 64 feet and 1 day. Now I want to get from feet to inches, days to weeks. So let's deal with the feet to inches first. And feet is in the numerator, so I'm going to put it in the denominator. I can go straight feet to inches. In 1 foot, there are 12 inches. Next, let's deal with the time. Days is in the denominator, so let's put it in the numerator. Days to weeks. In 1 week, there's 7 days. Inches. What's this going to give me? Days cancels days. Feet cancels feet. I'm left with inches and weeks, which is what my question asked for. Now I have 6 times 12 times 7, or 64 actually. 64 times 12 times 7 equals 5,376. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. So there's my answer there. 5,376 inches per week is the same as 64 feet in a day. So next one, 696 inches in 1 hour. We're going from inches to feet, hours to weeks. We're going to need a few conversion factors there. So, and let's deal with the length first. So inches, because they're opposite here, inches to feet. Yeah, we can do that. In 1 foot, there are 12 inches. Next, we want to go hours to weeks. So first, I want hours up here, so they'll cancel. And let's go hours into a day, right? And then we'll go days into weeks. We'll use 2 conversion factors for time there. In 1 day, there are 24 hours. In 1 week, there is 7 days. So now let's check all this out. Inches cancels inches, hours cancels hours, days cancels days. That leaves us with feet in our numerator and weeks in our denominator. And sure enough, feet per week. Next we have 696 times 24 times 7 is going to give, yeah, definitely one not of mental math, this one, 928. And now I have 1 times 12 times 1 times 1 is going to be 12, so I need to divide both those by 12. So I'll divide that by 12, and that's going to give me 974 for feet in 1 week. So my answer is 9744. Nope, this is not my last one. I was sitting there hoping this is my last one. Oh, this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. That's why I put that in. Teaspoons to tablespoons. Oh, this is one that not many people do too often. Whenever I did this, I had to actually, let me see, TS. I'll do TS for teaspoon in 1 year. This is one I actually had to go look up. So I need years to months. Let's deal with that. Year, months. In 1 year, there are 12 months. Now, here's the tricky one, is teaspoons to tablespoons. If I recall, I think it's like 1.5, 2.5. Let's go back and check. Here I have 3 teaspoons makes 1 tablespoon. right here under capacity. So see where these graphic organizers or these unit conversions that we find online help out. So 3 teaspoons, teaspoons are smaller than tablespoons, 3 teaspoons was equal to 1 tablespoon. So let's go back and remember that it's 3 to 1. So I need teaspoons here, and we'll go tablespoons. And I notice they use a capital T here. So it is 3 of the smaller teaspoons to 1 tablespoon. Now that should be good enough for us. Teaspoons cancels teaspoons. Years cancels years. So we end up with tablespoons and months, which is exactly what our question here is asking for. So 936 times 1 times 1 is 936. And then 12 times 3 is going to be 36. So now I need to divide 936 divided by 36 is going to give me 26. So that equals 26 over 1, 26 tablespoons in a month. The answer is 26. And final question here. Notice I did tablespoons again. So we have 96 tablespoons. I think TBS is correct there. In 1 day. And I need to get to hours. So let's deal with that first. Days to hours. In 1 day there are 24 hours. Now I need to get from tablespoons to, well, gee, ounces. Well, how many ounces are in a tablespoon? We might need to go back and check. So let's go ahead and refer to our table again. We're looking for the number of ounces in a tablespoon. And we can see right down here that there is 1 fluid ounce in 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons is equal to 1 fluid ounce. 2 tablespoons is equal to 1 ounce. Let's go back and we find out that 2 tablespoons is equal to 1 ounce. Now, I think we're good to go at this point. Days cancels days. Tablespoons cancels tablespoons. For the numerator, we're left with ounces. For the denominator, we're left with hours. So we're good to go there. 96 times 1 is 96. 24 times 2 is 48. And then 96 divided by 48 is 2, correct? Yeah. So that's 2 over 1. 2 what? 2 ounces for every 1 hour. So our answer is 2 fluid ounces in 1 hour. So it's almost a 30-minute video, but there's quite a few examples there. So remember that the key thing is to know your conversions. I kind of have most of it memorized. I've been teaching this quite some time now. But to have most of it memorized, but you can use graphics like these to get those conversions. And then you're going to set those conversions up. You're going to use these measurements to create conversion factors, right? Those 7 days over weeks, well, we have days and weeks right here. Or 12 inches to 1 foot. Notice that 12 inches and 1 foot are all in the same line here. So you could use a conversion factor of 1 quart is equal to 2 pints right there. Right? Or like we had over here where 2 tablespoons is equal to 1 fluid ounce. So you can use these tables to create your conversion factors. Remember that you want to put your unit measurements, if it's in the denominator, then whenever you create your conversion factor, you want to put it in the numerator so that those two, so you can have some units will cancel each other out. Multiply straight across. If you don't get a 1 in the denominator, be sure to simplify the fraction so you can find out what it is for just a unit rate, okay? All right, so that's all I have for IXL A1.E.1 Convert Rates and Measurements for Customary Units. Good luck with your activity.